So my purpose in being here today is to ask, how does this council justify spending taxpayer dollars knowing that they are being used in creating an unsafe environment for minors in our community? Why does council continue to fund the South Central Regional Library, which continues to, in my opinion, purchase and distribute materials that contain child pornography and that instruct on sexual touching for minors? I'm not here to fight with you guys, to argue with you guys. I'm here to help you understand that sexually explicit material, pornography, sex instruction, and material used for grooming purposes is sexually desensitizing for children. We need to let kids be kids and protect them, as this affects them psychologically. Since the November 29, 2022 presentation, Legal Counsel has suggested that materials presented to the Library Board do fit the definitions of child pornography, and invitation to sexual touching for minors, and that in doing so, these materials contravene the Criminal Code of Canada, sections 152 and 163. Every council that funds the SCRL has been made aware of the content of these materials by way of examples from free books, although there are certainly more examples. In the same presentation I presented, you were presented with the specific communication for action, which was the opinion of the delegate that the South Central Regional Library continue to engage in the illegal act of making pornography and sexually explicit materials available to minors on behalf of the delegation and concerned community members. We, the public, insist that our tax funding be withheld. Your authority to write bylaws that would parallel the Criminal Code of Canada and to prohibit such materials from being made available to minors for public libraries or otherwise was also discussed. For you to be able to make an informed decision about the budget question I'm about to ask, I just want to take a moment to clarify some of the confusion. The book, All Boys Aren't Blue, the Memoir Manifesto, is available through the SCRL as an e-book, so not on the shelf. So the South Central Regional Library's librarians curate these e-books. The South Central Regional Library chooses and pays for access to each individual book with tax dollars that you allocate to them. So these books are not available to anyone with an internet connection. The only way to access the book is with the SCRL membership. So regardless of the child's age, with an SCRL library card and a device, the child has access to these e-books like these, that in my opinion contain the graphic description of child-on-child sexual abuse and incest that are celebrated as a gateway to sexual maturity. Because the local media continues to use the language sex ed, please know that All Boys Aren't Blue does not fall anywhere within the realm of educational material. As for the rest, we are dealing with a different category entirely, the category of sex instruction for children and sex instruction for teenagers. So I'm just going to read one page. I will read a selection targeting our teens that is accessible with an SCRL membership. Anyone from the SCRL region who places a hold on this book can borrow it. So the book is called Let's Talk About It. I have one book that I'll send it to you at the end. One page I'm going to read. And don't forget, everybody's got a butt. After the train has left the station, so to speak, and you've had a chance to wash up or douche back there, you can have an ass load of fun with a healthy keeping of lube. Apply broad pressure to the outside of the entrance. Circle your butthole with your finger, causing any time a spot feels extra good. Dip just the tip of your finger inside. Let your anus pull it in when it's ready instead of forcing it. Dive deeper with your finger or a butt plug. This is a book for teenagers. Section 232(1)(a) of the Municipal Act states, councils are responsible for the safety, health, protection, and well-being of the people, and this is your jurisdiction. The definition of obscene materials changes over time, but the courts have ruled that it is defined as material that violates accepted community standards. Keeping this standard in mind, I would like to draw your attention to the staff that signed petitions. So it was sent to you as a PDF on February 14th from community members of the South Central Regional Library. I will now read the petition to you, so it's on record. It was signed by 1,796 taxpayers of this region. So whereas the Criminal Code of Canada, section 163, defines child pornography as a visual representation that shows a person who is under the age of 18 years and who is depicted as engaged in explicit sexual activity, or where the dominant characteristic is the depiction of a sexual organ or the anal region of a person under the age of 18 years. And whereas Section 163 of the Criminal Code of Canada also defines child pornography as any written material whose dominant characteristic is the description of sexual activity with a person under the age of 18 years, or the written depiction of underage individuals engaged in explicit sexual behavior. And whereas Section 152 of the Criminal Code of Canada states that every person who for a sexual purpose invites, counsels, or incites a person under the age of 16 years to touch directly or indirectly with a part of the body or with an object, the body of any person, including the body of the person who so invites, counsels, or incites, and the body of the person under the age of 16 years is guilty of an indictable offense. And whereas the SCRL have children and youth fiction and non-fiction materials that fit the above descriptions of child pornography, pornography and instruction to sexual touching of persons under the age of 16 years. And whereas the SCRL board has been made aware of the content of several books and has chosen to keep said books on the shelves and their online selection of books. And whereas parents, guardians have authority over the children, they have the right and responsibility of custody, health and safety, education, providing food, caring for them, supervision, and physical and psychological protection. And whereas the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, which Canada is a signatory, states that the governments and government entities, include libraries, shall respect the responsibilities, rights, and duties of parents to provide in a manner consistent with the evolving capacities of the child appropriate direction and guidance. And whereas Manitoba library policies which call upon expression of knowledge do not supersede the rights of a child, the rights of a parent, nor the Criminal Code of Canada. And whereas Manitoba libraries, including the South Central Regional Libraries, lack the protocol to ensure parents can screen for any of the sexual content mentioned above. The lack of protocol contravenes parental human rights and is a violation of the Criminal Code of Canada to make them available. We, the undersigned, therefore, based on Canadian law and parental and guardian rights, request that the juvenile books in all South Central Regional Libraries that display these sexually explicit images, contain sexually explicit content, or instruct on sexual touching be removed from the library stacks and from the online library system, and that a policy be put in place to ensure that sexually explicit materials and materials that contravene the Criminal Code of Canada are not made available to children and youth in the future. To keep the materials such as these in the libraries to create an unsafe environment for children and to place them at undue risk. Based on this new evidence, these petitions, I, as a representative of these signatories, I'm asking you to withhold funding from the South Central Regional Library and that you discuss drafting new bylaws which ensure the safety of our children. Or at a minimum, we're calling for one single public hearing in which all councils that fund the SCRL would collectively advertise, attend, and openly discuss the issue of safety of tax dollars being used to purchase and distribute these materials to our children. The intention for this hearing would be that you would gather information by opening up discussion in order for community members to communicate, to express their opinions, and to ask questions, and to clarify the needs surrounding the issue of tax dollars funding the SCRL. And in doing so, that you would vote on the resolutions related to the funding currently allocated to the SCRL for the 2023-24 fiscal year and onward.
So, as far as the budget goes, you're asking us to what?
Well, for tax dollars are funding for this material, like why do we need to be funding this?
Okay. So, thank you for your presentation. As far as policy goes, we don't make the policies for the South Central Regional Library. That is not part of what we do here. That is what they do. And we were given, when you originally brought this up in December, so we looked at that, what you gave us, we got information from South Central Regional Library, and they have a legal opinion as well, that it's not pornographic, and does not violate the criminal code, and so forth. We have an obligation through the Manitoba Libraries Act, which it's a bylaw that we must fund the library, and we do that by collecting tax dollars. So that's the agreement, and that I believe every municipality has probably said so far that this group has gone to. So anybody have any other comments?
So any thoughts or comments on the last part about having one single public hearing?
No, this is a budget hearing today.
Okay.
That's totally separate from
Okay.
today's. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for presenting. Appreciate that. I think I have your last one.
It's
That was different.
Thank you.